Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Thiessen. I'm the Artistic Director of Virtuosi Concerts, a chamber music and recital series here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I am so pleased to be here with Anica Warkentine, Hwan Gyu Cho, Caitlin Broms-Jacobs, and Madeline Hildebrand, who will be playing in the upcoming Roots and Branches Mentorship Concert Project, along with Mina Rose Chung and Layla Roberts. So this concert is a combined concert of emerging and established chamber music artists. The program is music for winds, strings, and piano, and it has been created around these beautiful musicians and their two colleagues. And the whole thing is going to happen this month in January 15th at 3 p.m. at the Eckhart Grammaté Hall at the University of Winnipeg. And this is also a fun location for Virtuosi because we're moving back to Eckhart Grammaté Hall and the U of W after a period of time away. So this is a very exciting event on a lot of levels. I'm so happy you're all here to talk about this with me and that you'll be playing in the concert. And I thought we could start by talking about, maybe we could go around, each of you could say what your role is in the concert, what instrument you play, and how you became interested in participating in this project. Let's start with Anica.
Hi, so my name is Anica, and I'm a pianist, and I am from Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I first kind of became involved with Virtuosi last year as a Virtuosi Young Artist for the 2021-2022 season. So I had the opportunity to open for the last concert of the 2021-2022 season in May. And so when I heard about this new initiative, I think I heard about it in September. I was really excited because I thought, okay, well, not only would I get to be involved with Virtuosi again, which is just a wonderful chamber music recital series that I've loved for years, and not only would I be able to be a part of it again, but actually get to play alongside professionals and not just open for them, but to work and rehearse and perform with people that I look up to and have and know of. And so anyways, I was very excited to hear that this mentorship project was having its first run this year. So I'm excited to play.
We're so glad you're part of it. Juan, what about you? Do you want to tell us something about your instrument, your role in this project, how you became interested in it?
Yeah, my name's Hwan. I'm originally from South Korea, but I'm living in Brandon, Manitoba now, and I play clarinet. And my professor, Dr. Catherine Wood, introduced me about the Virtuosi Concerts programs. And after I heard that, I'm really interested in, and I applied for Virtuosi, the Young Artist program, and I'm really happy to. I was selected one of the young artists, and also I'm really happy to play with the professional musicians for chamber music, and it's really great pleasure to me to play chamber music, and because like it is totally different compared to like solo music, and I can get more like a good experience, and I can communicate with people through the music. That is big pleasure for me. So yeah, I'm so excited to play with professional mentors and with Anika too.
Okay, good. And Caitlin, what about you? What's your role in this project and how did you become part of it?
Well, I play the oboe. I'm the principal oboist of the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra, and I was absolutely thrilled when you and Maddie asked me to be part of this project as I guess as a mentor. It's funny to think of myself as some kind of established artist because it seems like only you know a couple of months ago I was an emerging artist myself, but I guess it's actually been a little bit longer than that. Anyway, I'm super thrilled to play with all these outstanding musicians, and we have some really great repertoire to play. And yeah, it's gonna be great.
And Maddie, you're not only playing in the concert, but I have a really fun memory of sitting here in my office, possibly with tall grass cinnamon buns, dreaming this whole project up and imagining how Virtuosi's long running young artist program and you as the director of it, how it could grow into something else. So do you
Right.
want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing in this concert, but also what the kind of background of why you wanted this program to develop?
Sure. Sure. So I also fondly remember that cinnamon bun coffee hang. And it was together that you and I were thinking, how can we really make this program really meaningful and hands-on and just really practical for young artists? It's great to give young artists a platform to perform on a professional stage, to open for concerts, but I remember you and I shared many laughs when we thought about the first time that we sort of went over that threshold of playing sort of student-initiated, student-led events, and started playing with professional musicians, and what that felt like, and how it was so fun to learn that, you know, these people that have been guiding us and we've been looking up to, how the conversations that they're having in rehearsal space are very similar to the conversations that us as students were having. And not only were the musical conversations similar, but also to share humor and to just kind of like hang was so fun and meaningful. And so we thought we wanted to create an opportunity where we give students the same sort of experience. So this concert emerged that way, and this concept emerged that way. And I know that Virtuosi hopes to do more of these in the future, and I'm really excited to get this inaugural one up and running. Yeah, so there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could add too for all of the listeners that for this year, the reason it's possible is that we got a Manitoba Arts Council project grant for this concert. So we were really happy about that. They were really excited about the project and the fact that it's all Manitoba musicians, and there's even a Manitoban composer whose work is on the program. So yeah, we're really grateful for that grant, and yeah, it's been really exciting to see, like, from the inception of the idea to all of those practical stages and finding the personnel and this whole puzzle of figuring out what instruments we would even have available in the concert, and then asking the mentors, because we had a whole roster of mentors with from all of the different possible instruments we could think of for chamber music. And then we created this ensemble based around Hwan and Anica's clarinet and piano instrumentation. Speaking of instrumentation, why don't we talk about the program a bit now? So the composers on the program are, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've got them all. Brahms, Beach, Amy Beach, Brooke, Coleman. It's Valerie Coleman, is that right? Saint-Saëns, and Karen Sunabaka, who's our Manitoba composer. Do you want to just talk about, yeah, I'm sure you've all had your parts for a bit now and you're getting into them.
And Martinu.
And Martinu, thank you. Do you want to talk about how, like, this phase of preparing for the project? So group rehearsals have not yet begun. You have your parts, you're learning notes, but for our audience members too who aren't as familiar with the process of learning chamber music, do you want to talk about how that happens? Like, what you're working on now, what you'll be preparing to do together, maybe even what's still mysterious for you since you don't all know each other yet? What about you, Caitlin? You know, I know you were really involved in choosing some of these pieces because you're sort of a wonderful programming person. You have a lot of ideas for repertoire and programming. And you were really involved in
Yeah.
that stage. So
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say. Well, yeah, I mean, I did choose some of these pieces, but I haven't ever played any of them. And of course, I love playing music that I haven't that's new to me. That's, one of my favorite things is discovering new repertoire. So, but part of that is that I'm really starting from the beginning, learning my part, um, trying to understand as well as I can how it's all going to fit together before we get to the rehearsal. So, which means like listening to the recording, especially for some of the contemporary pieces, like really looking at the score. um, and because without a conductor or without anyone whose job it is just to make sure it all holds together, it's like totally our responsibility, and we don't have unlimited time. So yeah, obviously I'm going to try to prepare my part. I also try to think about how I want everything to how in my own um, my own lines, like how I want the phrasing to go, like my own musical concepts, and just to have something to bring forward. And yet I try to be completely open to other suggestions. So it's just what I conceive of how my part should go or how it should go is only really a starting point. And I'm usually everyone brings those kinds of concepts, and then as we work together, we sort of come up with a unified idea through the rehearsal process, which of course is so much of the fun of it.
Mm. So,
Anyway, that's me.
yeah, no, that's interesting. And Anika and Hwan, I'm curious to know like what your experience in playing chamber music has been so far. And like Caitlin was saying, how chamber music doesn't have a conductor. Often when you're a student, you still have a coach or somebody that's outside of the group listening in, giving advice. And in this situation, it'll just be the team of players, this kind of democracy of musicians. I'm curious to hear um yeah, your feelings about that, your impressions and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I love, Jennifer, how you mentioned that it's a democracy because sometimes as a student it doesn't always necessarily feel that way in a student setting, which is wonderful because you need that input and you need the ears outside of you. You need coaches to yeah to instruct and also just guide you in your understanding of how the music is supposed to be felt and how you're supposed to feel it with others. But I've had a decent amount of experience playing chamber music in kind of a student setting like that through like summer music programs. I played with lots of strings at Domaine Forget in 2019, I believe, and I've done a lot of like string duo stuff at summer programs. And then within my studies at school, I've done chamber music as a part of my small ensemble um, credit. And then I've also done some fun kind of stuff with friends on the side, more kind of as like an informal kind of recital setting. So this will be my first time doing something in a professional setting that's doesn't necessarily have that same kind of hierarchy that you might expect in like an academic context. So I'm very excited about that, and kind of building off of what Caitlin mentioned about preparation and trying to kind of balance taking responsibility for your own lines and your own part, but then also trying to listen also for what the other parts are doing at the same time, and kind of trying to open your ears already in the like in the kind of solo practice stage, which we're kind of in. Finding a balance between yeah, taking responsibility for your lines and using your musical intuition and expressivity already to decide what you want to do, and then also for me, I do a lot of singing of the other parts, um, and just trying to sing the other parts in different ways so that I can kind of anticipate maybe some of the things other people might be doing. So yeah, that's been my process so far.
Right.
That's interesting. That's a great idea. I'm going to do that more now that you mention it. Sing the other lines. What about you, Juan? Yeah, where are you at right now?
Yeah, so I'm totally agree with the Caitlin and Anika's opinion. And when I start learning the new chamber music piece, study by myself and find a good recording and score studying. After that, practice. But um, during the rehearsal meeting with chamber musician, and we can share each other's the opinion, and it's kind of like communication. Everybody need to be open mind and trying to accept someone's even critical thing, and that after that we can melt in the one good harmony and produce the wonderful sounds, and that makes me a lot of like a joy when I play chamber music, and also um, so even we play the same pieces with the different musician every time the sounds is pretty different. So I like a I can't expect what kind of sound I will are we gonna make. So it also like a kind of some like a surprising to me. So
Mm.
yeah, so chamber music is I think the music is a kind of language when we play. We communicate the music sometimes. I lead the melody. Sometimes I support other person's melody. We should trying to understand each other as many as possible and play together. And yeah, that's why I love chamber music.
That's really beautiful. I love that. Yeah, that image of chamber music as a conversation, and sometimes you're listening, sometimes you're speaking, um, and it builds differently based on each member of the group. It's not just written a certain way and you deliver it, and that's the end of the story. And there's Juan, there's also one of the pieces on the program was on your wish list of, or kind of your, what do we call it? Yeah, I guess wish list of chamber music pieces, which is the Brahms trio for clarinet, cello, and piano.
Yes,
So,
right.
how does it feel to have you played it before, and how does it feel to be approaching it? One of your favorite
Um,
pieces.
when I hear I will play the Brahms clarinet trio. I was really happy, and yeah, it was one of my wish lists because I really want to play the Brahms chamber music, but I didn't have a chance so far. So, and and I know that many people love Brahms music, not only clarinet player. So I think it's really good opportunities, and is this the especially the Brahms trio is very beautiful and a lot of characters, and also it shows a lot of Brahms music styles too. So yeah, that's why I want to play this piece, and I'm so excited to play this piece with musicians.
That's great. I'm excited to hear it. The
Yeah.
whole program sounds so fascinating. Are there other pieces that anyone was either really surprised to see or really glad? Um, Something you've always wanted to play or have never even heard of before, but you've got the parts and you're heading into playing it?
I'll go.
Okay.
Um, the Martineau trio for flute, cello, and piano. First of all, that's not such a common uh, pairing of instruments. So I'm really excited to hear the piece in full context with this really high soprano instrument and then this lower mellow instrument, and then the way Martineau uses the piano and the piece as a whole is really kind of percussive and jumpy. And I every single time I practice it, I'm like, oh man, this is just so cute. It's a really cute, lighthearted piece. And I hadn't played a lot of Martineau. I think I've played uh, one other flute sonata. So I I've been enjoying working on this piece with, and I know it's going to come across just really joyful, energetic music.
Hmm.
Great. Yeah, I could say a couple things about the Sanson, which is um, it's a piece that seems like it should be a very standard repertoire. It's but it's almost unknown, and for I don't know why, but it's just fabulous piece. It shows off the wind instruments and the piano really well. Each instrument has cadenza moments and great characteristic little show off moments. And it also has these. It's based on these really beautiful airs, this Danish and Russian airs. And what I think is so fun about it is it's not only just a really beautiful piece, but Sanson was such a great orchestrator, and so creative in his instrumentation. So the way that he uses the wind instruments, the registers um, that he writes each instrument in, the way that were combined is not just your standard sort of showpiece writing. It's much more creative and inventive than that, and it just creates this absolutely wonderful thrilling and beautiful effect. So I'm super excited to have discovered this piece and to be able to play it. It's really great. I hope that the audience likes it as much as we do. I'm sure they will.
Yeah. And what is the instrumentation of it exactly again?
It's
Remind me.
piano, flute, oboe, and clarinet, which is
That's
rather unusual.
yeah.
Yeah. And the brook that we're playing is for we're playing it as an oboe, cello, piano trio, but it was originally written. Brooke wrote it for his son actually, who was a clarinetist. So it's originally for clarinet, viola, and piano. But maybe because of pressure from his publisher, Brooke also published it with an arrangement for violin, cello, and piano, like that Brooke did himself. So it's often played in any one of these combinations. And I'm not the first person to decide it would work great on oboe. Other oboists have stolen it before me. But I think it does work really great. And this piece that we're going to be playing, which is Nak de Gesang, is one of these 8 pieces. And interestingly, unlike most multi-movement works, Brooke intended these pieces, like each individual movement, to be performed separately or in maybe pairings of 2 or 3. He actually recommended that one would not play all 8 movements together, which is, I think, really quite interesting. Anyway.
Something I'll say about Caitlin is that I think that you're such an expert programmer. And I love that in the times that we've played together, we rarely play oboe piano music.
That's true.
Caitlin is always finding, like, we've played Rachmaninoff songs, we've played flute sonatas that just work better on the oboe.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Brahms and Schumann, and they wrote all these great orchestral solos for oboe, but they completely abandoned us when it came to the chamber music repertoire. And there's all this incredible music, Brahms music for the clarinet, all kinds of romantic music for clarinet, and almost nothing for oboe. So we have to resort to stealing. It's no choice.
I love it. Well, and that was in the classical period, that was really common and kind of assumed, like people just swapped music out and played it for any different instrument combination. It was really common. But I guess by the Romantic period, maybe it was less common, but I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as a violist too, we steal with both hands, It's like, oh, I like that, I'll play that. I like that, I'll play that. But
Yeah.
I love that other instruments do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we have to wrangle the pianists and cellists
Yeah.
and clarinetists to play with us.
Yeah, I'm always absolutely thrilled when a great pianist, agrees to play this crazy stuff with me.
If there's one thing that you would say is the biggest impact for each of you in playing in a concert like this, that's a combination of younger emerging artists and professionals, what do you think that impact would be? It could be on musicianship, a career, like this could be a really practical thing, or more of a kind of like poetic musical thing. Is there, yeah, I'll ask each one of you, both professionals and emerging artists, what the impact of this concert is for you. Maybe Anica, I see you nodding.
Sure, I'll speak to this first. That's a great, such an open-ended question. Thanks for that, Jennifer. I have a lot of thoughts. I think the first thing that comes to mind is that I love when I have the opportunity to expand my ability to make sound, if that makes sense. So I just think that it's such a great opportunity to be working with people who are established and experienced in the field of like professional classical music, because they've had a longer amount of time and just more experience that's allowed them to really settle into their sound and become these and create this really confident kind of personal musical voice. And I think that I'm in a stage in my life where I'm finished my undergrad, and I'm doing a post-bac in collaborative piano at U of M, which is wonderful, and I'm looking ahead to a master's in collaborative piano. And so I've been thinking a lot about my own personal musical voice and how I want to kind of contribute to this career that I am so passionate about. And I think creating my own kind of musical voice and learning what that sounds like and allowing myself to be impacted by and transformed by other people's sound and having that affect me is kind of what's been on my mind a lot throughout this year. I just really am looking forward to having my sound influenced by others, and you can't anticipate what that's going to feel like or be like until you kind of start rehearsals, and even sometimes in a performance. And some of my favorite moments are when like your sound is just, you don't even realize the way that it's transforming because something about the acoustics of the room or the way somebody played a certain line or just maybe the slightly faster tempo that kind of happened. You just, there's all this element of risk that's so fun in how your sound is transformed. So that's, yeah, kind of one of my first thoughts. And then also just practically just, yeah, being able to be part of the Virtuosi program once again in a different capacity is practically just really wonderful too, just to have your name and sound out there again. It's just wonderful to be, yeah, feel so supported in this city as a young musician. And not everybody has those opportunities. So I do feel so blessed for that. And just the amount of intentionality that's gone into programming and everything is just so incredible too. So I'm thankful. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Anica. And Juan, what about you? And because you're playing professionally already, you're sort of like a young professional, I would say, right? Like you're not in school
Uh,
anymore. And
yeah, I just
yeah,
played a little bit, but
yeah.
not a lot. Yeah.
So for you, both musically and professionally, what's the impact of this concert for you?
The first of all, thank you very much for making this mentorship concerts project. So it's really great opportunity for like emerging artists or student level students, because so most of the student who is learning the classical music, they don't have many chance to play with like professional musicians, and and we through this program, um, me and Anika can learn more, meeting the professional mentors, and we can get more advice, and then we can learn many things through the project. Also, um, this is the Manitoba Virtuosi Concert, and we can expand more our like a musical range to and the binding the Manitoba musician together. I think that is also really good. Yeah, and also I think the it helps the emerging artists to moving to the next level and the more chance to play in the public place and the professional gigs, and I really excited to play with the chamber music concert.
That's great. And what about for the pros, Caitlin and Maddie? How does this feel going into this kind of a setting?
First of all, I would like to say the more that like we, draw this line between emerging professional or established, the more uncomfortable I'm getting. Like Caitlin, I mean, one of the reasons I was so passionate about um, uh, being the coordinator of this program in the first place back in 2015 was because I intimately knew what it felt like to be a student and seeking opportunities to play. So, I mean, in the end, we are all just people and we are all musicians. And I think for me, the most important part of this concert is we're going to be working with Manitoba musicians, Hwan and Anica, and meeting new people and learning about their sound. And that's the most fun part of chamber music for me. Piano solo can be kind of like a lonely thing. And so for pianists to play with new musicians and then meet new people and get to know new people's sound and intentions with music is just so fun and so refreshing. So I think speaking for all of the mentors in this program, it's going to be fun to just to play with new people. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree that I feel the same way in that we're in this context, we're all just colleagues and we're just working together. There's no, and that's the beauty of this, I think. But also, when I was much younger, from the time, I was a kid, like basically just learning to play the oboe honestly, throughout my entire time in Winnipeg. I've been so unbelievably fortunate to play with great musicians. Um, all along the way, my friends and colleagues, like when I was a student, I've probably learned more from all the incredible musicians that I've played with than I have from my teachers, and I had amazing teachers. But just all those hours of listening to what other great musicians are doing, can learn so much about um, really everything: ensemble style, phrasing, expression. And there's so much to be learned from people who play other instruments. I'm always listening to string players, pianists, singers, and anyway, all of this is just to say that I know how meaningful it was for me to have these experiences that weren't like a formal coaching or anything like that, but just a great learning experience. So I hope that this can be like that for all of us, I'm sure, just to learn from each other. Yeah, and have a good time playing together.
That's wonderful. It's going to be really great. I can't wait to hear it. We'll have Karen Sunabaka present as well. So one of the composers will be there, which is really exciting. And yeah, for the listeners, you're not going to want to miss this. So please be there. It's January 15th. That's a Sunday in the afternoon at 3 o'clock at Eckhart Grammatte Hall at the U of W. And tickets are at Virtuosi's website, virtuosiconcerts.ca. And students can always get $10 tickets at the door. So yeah, all students, not just music students, all the faculties, all ages. Yeah, we really want to have a lot of young folks there as well, listening to friends and colleagues. So thanks to all of you. And I'm excited to hear you along with Layla and Mina. And to the listeners, we'll see you there. Bye.